Okay, let's pick up with number 7 here. I went ahead and compensated all the sensors. A few things about that. You see we've got the pins out of the turntables here at the bottom now. So that turntable is like a series of ball bearings in a little channel with the plate sitting on top of it, and it basically just makes the wheels easy to turn back and forth to do the rest of our measurements. A couple things that I failed to mention real quick. This very back axle, remember, is your park brake axle. So we had to cage the brakes to release the parking brake to be able to rotate the wheels to compensate those. So that's one of the things you're going to have to do prior to doing your compensation. You can air the truck up and push it in and do it that way, but most trucks leak and it's going to bleed down and may pop out on you. So it's best to go ahead and do it the right way and cage those. The other thing I failed to mention, if you're compensating sensors and one of the wheels is extremely hard to rotate, a lot more effort than what it should and a lot more effort than the other wheels, you might need to investigate that, because sometimes we do a wheel alignment because the vehicle's pulling to one side. And occasionally we may find one that there's nothing wrong with any of the alignment specifications, but it's pulling to one side, and what we might find is that it has a brake dragging or a brake that's misadjusted. So it's always worth taking a quick check, look at the brakes, especially on the front, to make sure they're adjusted properly. And if it's not wanting to rotate, it could be a wheel bearing problem, something like that. So you always want to notice those things, and if something doesn't feel right, say, oh, could this be my problem? So like I said, a brake dragging will give you a brake pull. So, you know, that you could have found the problem and it may not need the alignment that you're doing. Okay. So like I said, we got these compensated. It automatically jumps to this screen. We can see that our camber there on the top is 0.6 and it's red. What that's telling us is that's bad. Red means it's out of specifications. Okay, we have a green but -1, that's within our specifications. 0.1, sorry, -0.1. So the right side's good, the left side, the camber's out. That would tell us that either we have a wheel bearing problem, a kingpin problem, or the axle's bent. Remember, we got into that earlier, whether or not you can fix that or if it's has to be replaced type thing. So we've got that. Okay, we've got a total tow specification here. We don't really have left and right tow on big trucks because we got one tie rod in. That's more of an automotive thing. So the tow is out on this truck. I'm telling you, it's going to be chewing the tires up. Nothing should be red on here. If it's red or yellow, red means it's bad, it's out of specifications. Yellow means it's right on the edge, it's fixing to be out. So it's like kind of a little caution thing. Green means it's in specs. If you notice, there's no caster here. No numbers for caster. Caster has to be measured at different steering angles to be determined. It cannot magically look at the kingpin and say it's got this angle on it. So we have to steer the vehicle to get that caster to show up. So that's what we're going to do now. When we hit our save before measurements, it's going to say, is the steering wheel level before or not? Okay. I have none selected, but I could put the steering wheel was level before the alignment. The steering wheel is not level. That helps us do an adjustment to get the steering wheel straight. So this top graph here shows you that the wheel's not steered straight ahead. The X is way over there to the side. As it gets close to the middle, to the green there, it would become an arrow telling you it's straight ahead. Then you would look at the steering wheel there to see if it's level when the wheels are straight ahead, to know if your steering wheel is going to be. And you got a set steering wheel status tab down here and a cancel. Okay. So this is where it's going to be tricky to do this one-handed. Just to steer it to get up here in the truck. And it's going to be hard for you to see on your screen, but I want to turn the wheel here because it's not straight ahead. And our steering wheel is not straight, so we would have checked that it wasn't, okay? All right. Now, back to the screen here. We have thrust angle. This is on that rear axle that's showing us. Over here it shows that we're at the rear axle. See the box around the very rear axle and around the sensors and the wrench beside it. That means we're at the adjustment for that if it needed to be. We're at 0.07. It's green. It's within specs. It tells us we don't have to do anything. If we wanted to get it perfect, we could move it forward 1/16 of an inch. Adjustment shown for right side only. You may adjust the left side in the opposite direction instead, or adjust both sides in the mount. So either way, it tells you to move the right side forward 1/16 of an inch, which means you would remove a 1/16 shim there, or you could go to the left side and add a 1/16, and it's going to move that one forward a 1/16, if that makes sense to you. Okay. Since that's green, get that specification, 0.07 on the rear thrust angle. We're going to come down here and hit OK. It's showing us everything's good on the back. Toe is irrelevant because it's a solid axle. There's nothing adjustable. So we're all good there. Don't have to do anything to that. The gray areas means it's not adjustable. It's not red, it's not green. So toe's not, it just tells us for the heck of it, but thrust angle's good. Now we're going to go to measure caster. Remember I said we can't get caster on the front end without measuring at different angles. The reason I had to set the back first, we set the very back axle on the truck perfect, or within specifications, and then everything else on the truck is aligned to that. So the rear axle is aligned to the center line of the frame, so the truck's going straight down the road. We adjust that first. Now everything else we do is going to be set to that rear axle because that's our reference point. Now that's why I had it check that first instead of going straight into measure caster. So now we're going to hit measure caster here. It shows our little box went here to the front with our wrench. That's what we're working on now, is the front axle. It says if raised, lower the vehicle. If locked, unlock the front sensors. Service brake should not be applied. Steer the wheel as directed. So once again, we got our little deal here telling us to steer it that way, and we're going to steer it until that X jumps into the green box there, and it's going to take a measurement. I know this is hard to see. I apologize. Thank you whoever decided to eat a bat. So you're not doing it here in person. But it's telling me which direction to turn the steering wheel. Nope, I got a longitudinal toe beam blocked. I got to go fix that. Sorry, hang on here. It's one of the problems with using the cables. It's actually a good learning deal though. What it means is something between that sensor and that sensor is blocking the laser, and it's got a red X there. So I would need to go to this side. Basically the cable pulls this thing down way too low, where that laser can't see the back laser on the truck. That should have it fixed, and it does, but keep in mind that if anything, like I step in front of the sensor here, now it's blocked. You can't have anything in between those. Now let's finish this up now. You can turn this annoying noise off if you want to. It's kind of a thing to help you tell you when you're getting close. Seems like it's not going to move forever, but when I get closer, you hear it pick up. Now I've got arrows that are moving toward the center. It took those two measurements. Now it needs to measure the angle the other direction. So now I'm turning the wheel the direction it's showing me on the screen, which is to the right. Now I'm back to getting blocked. Probably going to have to go fix that, dang it. Let me get this one side here. Get these batteries fixed. Okay, so it's actually blocked across the front. It will tell you sometimes that it's blocked, but it'll have an X to show you where it's blocked at. So things underneath the front of the truck keeps these sensors from looking under the truck and seeing each other, because remember, they're going across the front of the truck. These are going down the sides. So if anything blocks it across the front, some of the things that hang down on the front of the trucks now and stuff will do that to you. So now we're going to steer it ahead again, and it'll give us our measurements. All I'm doing now is straightening the wheel back out, because we had to turn to the right to measure that caster. It's really sensitive. We want to get it pretty close to the middle because of our toe setting. When I get out of the truck, it'll move a little bit too. Me shaking the suspension. I moved it a bunch. Go over and check this sensor. When you're trying to get it perfect, if you go a little bit past and let off, it kind of settles back. It's uber sensitive. There we go. Steer wheels as directed. Level and lock the sensors. So we just follow what the machine says. Level. Level. That one's level. Last sensor. Level. Okay, now all of our sensors are level. We've done everything it says on the screen here. Click ready. Now we can see that we still got our caster problem there. Left is 0.5, and there's no negatives, so that means it's positive. Right's dead on zeros. Cross caster is the separation of the two. There's 0.5 between them, so that's 0.5 there. We got left caster 4.9, right caster 5.0. Both of those are out of specs. It wouldn't really give us a pull because there's only 0.1. That's why that's green, but it's still out of specification, so we'd have to put some shims in there to get that within specs, and the machine walks you through what degree to put in there to do that when you click on it. So there's our specifications for that. Our total toe is positive 0.35, so we can't have that. That would be tearing the tires up. We still got our 0.6 thrust angle, positive 0.06. So that's within specifications. So that's all the stuff that it's going to be asking you for on your task sheets. So be sure you get all that down.